All right, guys, our second card is really kind of a fun one. We're going to take a piece of white cardstock and do some stamping with kind of this rose flower shaped image. You're going to want some scrap paper for this. So we're going to go off the edges. We're going to use our pale papaya ink as well as some polished pink ink and some Magenta Madness ink. So I'm going to start by stamping kind of a row of my flowers here in pale papaya, just kind of going down the diagonal of this piece of white. And then I'm going to switch to polished pink. And I'm going to overlap that first row a bit, like so, going all the way down. And then I'm going to do another row or two to kind of just complete the rest. Okay, so this is a pretty little background, but we're going to take it up a notch and we're going to pull one of our decorative masks, and I'm going to use kind of the scallopy one that looks like this, and I'm going to position this over my panel. Now I'm not going to do the whole thing, I'm just going to do part of it. And for this, I want to use my magenta ink. So this is kind of a richer shade of pink so that it'll go over the top. And we're just going to go over part of the top of the pink ones. So we're not going over everything, just part way. Okay, so what I like to do too is line my row of scallops up just so that like this point is along the edge. That way it's straight and not crooked on your paper, though it's not terribly critical. And then, like I said, we want to leave just a little bit of the pink roses showing, and then we're going to blend kind of below that. Okay, so I'm careful not to move my mask. It does help a little bit if you have like 4 extra hands with this, but usually you can manage pretty well. Okay, and you can see I've got my ink pretty dark at the very bottom. And now when I lift this up, that is the look I get. Isn't that cool? So we're just kind of adding some extra texture and color to this to kind of add some interest. And I think this is a technique you can play with the various images in the stamp set in different color combinations and really have fun with this. Okay, I'm also going to stamp my sentiment, which is thanks, up here in the corner in my darkest, which is the Magenta Madness ink. So that looks wonderful. Now, the last part of this is we're going to take, let me close these up. We're going to take and adhere this to our layer of Magenta Madness cardstock. And we're going to add some ribbon to this. And I have kind of a fun technique for the ribbon. We're going to take and color it once again, but only part of it. So I will use my dark Magenta Madness Stamp and Blend. You could probably do this with your blending brush too if you didn't have the blend. You can also do different colors. So like you could try polished pink would work fine too if you didn't have Magenta Madness. Now I'm going to take a length of my ribbon, and this is going to go across like this, but I'm also going to kind of pleat my ribbon a little bit as I go, because I'm trying to get kind of a sense of how much I need on here. Okay, so I think I'm going to do about this much. So that is 7, 8, 9, I'd say 10 inches. If you pull 10 inches of ribbon, you'll be fine. Now what I want to do with this is I'm going to color about 2/3 of it. Okay, so we'll leave kind of this first third, and then we're going to color with our blends going across like so. Actually, I probably would leave, that was more like 3/4, maybe leave a little less. start back a little, give it another inch. Okay, as mentioned, I'm going to put this across. I think the easiest way to do that is with some tear and tape. But you can also just use Seal or Seal Plus. That will work fine for this as well. And okay, so we'll take our ribbon and we're going to just do a little pleating across here. And we're kind of mirroring the ombre effect with our stamping with the ombre effect of our ribbon. So I'm just going to have the end sticking off here just a touch, and then we'll start in on the pleating. One thing to be aware of as you're doing your little pleats is you want to make sure that you don't end up with sticky stuff exposed. So make sure you're staying on your line of adhesive, whichever form you used. And what I do also like about this is you can pull up your adhesive and reposition it kind of as you need. So I noticed when I was making my sample, I had to kind of recheck where I was in here to make sure I stayed on my line of adhesive. Okay, so I'm just kind of pleating every half inch-ish or so, like that. And then at the end, I just kind of have it go off straight, and then we'll trim that down like so. Okay, so that looked pretty good. We've got a fun little ombre effect. Now, once I've done that, what I also like to do is take my bone folder and kind of really press into this with the adhesive so that it stays stuck down. When you put it in an envelope, that definitely helps as well, but I just like to make sure that my ribbon does get kind of stuck on there well. Okay, now to finish this up, we're going to place it popped up on our Pale Papaya card base. And then we're going to add in some gems as well, because everything's prettier with gems, don't you think? I love these in color gems. They are so pretty. And what's kind of fun about them is the colors work really nicely with similar other colors, meaning I can take those pink ones and use them on different shades of pink, not just the polished pink, and I can use the Pale Papaya on, various colors. But I am going to use Pale Papaya on here to kind of highlight my card base. I've got a bunch of partial sheets of this. So I will take and put a couple on here like this, and maybe one more up here like that. I'm going to scooch this one up just a touch. And there we go. Such a fun card. Again, have fun playing with this technique and adding the blending over the top.